I know I'm the last one for today. I appreciate your patience and look forward to giving you a bit of a backdrop in terms of SageSource and our organization. I'll also give you a little bit of background in terms of why we founded the organization and some of the things that are unique that we're taking on as a strategy. We're a fairly early stage nonprofit. Our initial funds were provided by a very famous entrepreneur and their foundation. However, with any entrepreneur, they said, here's enough to get started, the rest is on your own. And so now we're on our own, got things going. So before I go, before I go into anything, I'm going to tell you a bit of a personal story. Sue and Mary were a couple ladies who lived in our neighborhood when my family and I first moved in. Most of the people around in our neighborhood were seniors, and Mary lived across the street. Sue lived next to me, and Louis, he lived across the street too, but that's another story. He's a pretty crazy guy. In any event, I noticed something right off the bat, that both Sue and Mary lived entirely different lifestyles. Sue did not know many people. She'd been there for 50 years and didn't know many in the neighborhood, and many of her connections had come to the point to where they had passed away or they had disconnected entirely. She lived probably 45 minutes to an hour from her immediate family, which was her son. Mary, on the other hand, was incredibly well connected. It was very difficult at times for me to try to track her down. She was involved in so many different types of activities and events. Sue stayed in her home most of the day. I noticed she watched videos. She had a massive library of VHS videos. And I would go and help her with any kind of home improvement, gardening, anything that I could do to help ease some of the financial burdens that she had faced. As I mentioned, Mary was always on the go. And both of these ladies, by the way, and this was about 7, 8 years ago, were in their 70s and 80s. Sue sadly had to move to an assisted living facility. It was actually pretty gut-wrenching. When I had started speaking with her while helping her in the yard, she was talking to me as if I was somebody else. She was living another chapter in her life that had occurred years before and had completely disassociated with what was going on in the moment. It was then that obviously we had a lot of concern about her health and well-being. Mary still lives in her home, still drives, and is incredibly active. She's sharp. She comes by, brings me gardenias when they're in season. I get about 3 or 4 bases of it over the course of a couple of weeks. Just an incredibly engaging woman. Now, what's interesting is I asked her one time, I said, why is it that you're so involved? You're working on so many activities. And she said, aging scares me, but what scares me most is losing my capacity, my mental capacity, and falling into a trap to where you're either in stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. So she wanted to keep active, wanted to keep sharp, and keep both her mind and her body healthy. Sue, the last time I visited her, she didn't remember me or our family. And Mary and I, as I mentioned, we're still chatting, still visiting. As a matter of fact, she calls me every once in a while to see if my son can come over and help her with her computer. So the net is we really want to try to help more seniors experience the kind of lifestyle that Mary does. And they were both a large part of why we founded SageSource. SageSource is about making a difference in the seniors' lives, helping them get connected with their community, helping them understand where resources are, where programs are, where people are that share the same types of interests. At the same time, as a community, we come together to understand what the needs are of our seniors and can engage them, connect them with what's going on based upon their interests. Much like the previous presenter, it's about educating them and helping them feel comfortable to be engaged. My grandmother had moved over from Minnesota, had a lot of interest that there were plenty of other people that had the same, but she didn't connect with them. She was a little nervous, she was a little shy. And so the thought is if you can make that connection so much more powerful and so much easier, that it's so powerful to get them engaged and enjoy their life. So in this particular instance, social isolation is huge. We have about 700,000 seniors right now in the immediate Bay Area and a couple surrounding counties. We've all talked about the baby boomers, which today, according to the census, there's about 1.1 million people in the Bay Area that are going to start coming into the ranks of the senior population. So when you look at, for instance, folks like Mary, they really don't have a good understanding of what's available to them. What we look to try to provide as a technology enabler is to work with other organizations to help extend their programs to other seniors in the community, to break down the barriers of location, of language, of economics, of financial capability, and really engage in this incredibly big and diverse senior community. And with this service we call Smart Connect, we give them a very strong understanding of all of those activities, all of those resources. She likes bird watching. A meetup group can contact her based upon her interests. They say, hey, why don't you join us? We're going to go bird watching. So it's a bi-directional communication that we're trying to get, not just a senior having to go out and search for what they need. We call this kind of a knowledge municipality, so that we're coming together, we're sharing common knowledge, we understand the profile of the entire community, including our seniors, and with Smart Connect, can make that personalized connection. So that seniors, as I've mentioned, can find what they're looking for, that the communities can learn, especially with unmet needs. There's several different organizations that are offering powerful programs. If we can come together, engage with the seniors, find out what are some of the other things that we can develop or extend to address that unmet need, is really what the goal of this collaborative network is. And then, most importantly, it's about seniors getting engaged. We don't want them to just sit on a computer. We want to get them out in the community, involved in activities and different lifestyle hobbies that help them get connected, just like Mary. Now, we know that there is a population of seniors that hasn't got online yet. We need to use traditional one-to-one interactions, provide them with a newsletter or some type of ongoing conversation that helps connect them. At some point, there will be a stronger adoption with seniors. We've seen it in some of the studies where they will get more online, especially the baby boomers. But it's the seniors that aren't connected right now that are the greatest at risk, and especially as it pertains to different cultures. So ultimately, we want to make the seniors happier, living a healthier lifestyle, and making sure that the connections are personalized and relevant. With a profile that we can build with the community and of the senior, we know exactly what it is that we need to connect them with or educate them on, and conversely, what the senior, when they're looking to try to find some type of resource, is relevant to them. So the benefits. We feel there's stronger communities that we can build. It's a grassroots effort to try to take care of our own. There's a number of different issues facing municipalities in terms of funding, in terms of resources. Senior programs seem to always be on the block of being potentially reduced. So we need to step up as a community and help each other. Senior awareness and empowerment. We're giving them a voice. They're telling us what it is that they need, what's working, what's not working. We're taking away some of the assumptions as an organization and responding specifically to what they need. The interactions, the perspective, all of this comes hand in hand with being able to engage with these seniors. A lot of organizations now aren't just looking at headcount or straight numbers. They want to know what the social ROI is. We feel with our technology being able to establish a baseline in terms of where these seniors are and be able to track their participation, their activities, how often do we interact with them, that we can start to identify or make some assumptions about the progression of a senior and relative to their health and well-being and the activities that they're involved in. The funding organizations, they want to have these smart metrics so that we can really drill down to make sure that what we're providing for them is impactful. And then, of course, maximizing the program investments. We want to make sure that the funds are being allocated appropriately. We have different types of self-sustaining revenue programs that are part of our model, in addition to traditional donations. And it's all about sustainability, making sure that not only we support our communities on an ongoing basis, but I'm getting requests from other states asking if we have something similar. And the goal is really to put together a toolkit or a framework for other youth leaders like yourselves that want to start something like this in their community, start building that knowledge, that collaboration, and contribute to the SageSource network.